It was somewhat funny that this was his first challenge after being invited into the group chat. Sure, he hoped for something that wouldn't scrape his ego, but in the end, he highly doubted either of his partners would say anything that would hurt him. Even if they told him he did indeed become larger, he wouldn't take it too hard. Getting an occasional check was good to keep one humble. Although he did have an ulterior motive, which he hoped would stroke his ego in turn. If his boyfriends noticed, of course, and thought of mentioning it. But even if not, it's fine. It's supposed to be fun. He did take to heart what others told him and waited for the right moment when he would be alone with only one of his boyfriends. So far, he had been embarrassingly sitting alone in the living room. But just as he started to think if he should go look for the others, a blonde tornado rushed through the door, grinning and almost jumping with pent-up energy. "Hey, I thought you were still out shopping." Aran chuckled, humming contentedly when Atsumu kissed him. "I just finished putting the stuff away. Where's everyone?" "Omi went for a run, and Shinsuke is dealing with some bugs on the field. I tried to help out, but he sent me away." "Did you try to make friends with the caterpillars?" "But they are so fluffy and cute." Sighing in defeat, but arguably totally enamored once again, Aran shook his head and pulled him in for another kiss before gently smacking the back of his head. "You do know those can be poisonous, right? Thank goodness Shin knows his pests." "Bummer. I wanted to keep a few." "Yeah, I know. And then you would release them because you would feel bad for keeping them in a jar, and Shin would lose his mind after they destroy the crops." He raised his eyebrow, and Atsumu quickly clapped his mouth shut, speaking volumes of how accurate Aran's statement was. He decided to leave him be though, feeling like he did make his point clear already, and instead let himself enjoy the moment of being with his boyfriend. It was a shame that they realized it so late that, unlike with Osamu, their love for Atsumu crossed the border of friendship. They could have made so much more nice memories if they had realized sooner. Although, then Kiyomi probably wouldn't be in the picture. But maybe it would be... He stopped himself mid-thought and quickly chased the rest away, refusing to accommodate that little part of him. Before it could come back to haunt him, he gently flicked Atsumu's forehead to make him look up, earning a curious glance. "I have a question." "Figured. What is it?" "Do you think I gained weight?" Atsumu tilted his head, reminding Aran of the foxes the twins used to be often depicted as by their fans and enemies alike in high school. "Why do you ask so suddenly?" "Just curious. Gotta watch my weight with age." "Oh please, you're barely getting to 30. He pursed his lips then, just inviting Aran to kiss him again, but he managed to hold back. For now, anyway. No, definitely not. I would notice." He grinned, squeezing Aran's bicep. "But you definitely did gain some muscle recently, you know?" Unsure if he should be flattered or flustered, Aran watched him squish his arms some more, pretty certain Atsumu would start to drool in a second. The hungry glint in his eyes was telling enough even without it though, and to be perfectly honest, it did stroke his ego like he secretly wished for. "It's the new training. I thought it's time to up my power a little since dexterity was never my strongest suit." "Ooh, sounds good. Can't wait to see our guys receive your spikes next match." He pulled away a little, flexing his fingers. "I was thinking about trying some new workout, but I haven't figured out anything yet." We can work out together if you want. Like the last play break.
Really?
His eyes no less than sparkled with excitement, and Aran had to smile. Sure, why not? Why don't we also invite...
That's awesome! It's been so long since we did any sport together, just the two of us. Can we start tomorrow? Or at least this week? Please, please, please.
Unable to say no, Aran swallowed the previous suggestion and nodded, earning a blinding smile and a kiss. He looks so excited to be just us together. Let's not ruin it. There were even less doubts in his mind about Kita's answer than with Atsumu. Yet he still checked himself in the mirror when he passed it on the way to catch Kita alone, making sure he chose the right t-shirt for the occasion. It smelled a little like vanity, but he supposed he could be forgiven for fishing for compliments once in a blue moon. As expected, Kita was still lying sprawled on the couch, wrapped in the blanket Sakusa gave him for Christmas and reading some gardening magazine. As much as Aran wanted to tease him about taking it very easy that day, he couldn't in his best conscience take away his beloved's rest. Gods knew he worked for 3 people most of the days in an already back-breaking industry. He deserved to have a day of lounging around. He kissed the top of Kita's head, earning a soft purr of happiness if he could judge, and a small smile.
Do you need something?
Nope, just admiring you.
Why so?
Because I have the most perfect boyfriend in the world and he deserves admiration, no matter what he does. Kita chuckled softly at that, and Aran could swear he saw the faintest pink blush on his cheeks.
You sweet talker. Now I'll have to think of something to return the favor.
You don't have to. But you can answer a question for me.
Oh?
Do you think I gained weight?
Tilting his head, Kita put down the magazine and sat up, taking a moment to measure Aran from head to toe. He then pursed his lips and gently squeezed his face, following it with squishing his side and briefly pressing his hand against his stomach. Aran would gladly chuckle at that examination if he wouldn't risk spoiling the challenge. But seeing Kita take it so seriously was rather comical. Although he should have known, Kita took everything seriously unless it was clear he could mess around a little. I suppose maybe a little bit.
Really?
It's not that noticeable, but I've known your body for a long time. But to be honest, I think it might help you with your spikes. More mass creates a stronger momentum.
Unless it prevents me from jumping.
It's not that much.
He smiled, lightly squishing Aran's bicep, similarly to Atsumu.
It's mostly your arms getting stronger, no? That's what you are training for. Unless, of course, you train to be a good boyfriend and carry us around on those strong arms.
You mean I'm not a good boyfriend now?
I mean that you could maybe use those muscles in a more gallant way, you know?
His eyes sparkled, just like always when he was up to some mischief, and then gasped when Aran effortlessly picked him up from the couch and into his arms. I should probably start working out more then.
Are you implying I'm heavy?
Not at all, my dear. Just that carrying you around would require more strength than it may seem. He chuckled at Kita's expression before kissing the pout from his lips, luring a soft laugh from him as well. He missed these moments so much, with the increasing workload on both of them and with the joint of Atsumu and Sakusa. The moments of pure joy between just the two of them became a little sparse. Perhaps it was his own fault for focusing on 10 different things, but with all the changes going on, he couldn't be blamed, right?
At least Shinsuke didn't seem like he would blame him. Overcome by a wave of fondness, he squished Kita closer to him, nuzzling their noses together while he gently rocked him in his arms.
I'll gladly carry you around if you want.
Maybe sometimes. You need to feel well for matches.
I can manage.
Aw, how come you never carry me around?
Rolling his eyes in a loving exasperation, Aran kissed yet another pout from his boyfriend's lips, earning a little huff. You always wiggled away when I tried in the past.
Well, yeah, but we weren't dating back then. It's different now. You'll have to wait your turn then.
Possessive much, Shin?
Not at all. Just enjoying the privilege.
He gave Atsumu a victorious smile, and Aran sighed, realizing he now had 2 kids on his hands for a moment. Fortunately, Atsumu seemed so excited by the prospect of being carried he didn't even grumble, only clapped his hands in excitement before he threw himself around their necks, squealing happily. And they led him because, at least for Aran, seeing Atsumu smile was equal to making the sun shine. He only startled from the peaceful atmosphere when a dull bang from somewhere upstairs echoed through the house. Someone left the door open again, huh?
Don't look at me, I close it every time. It's alright. It didn't sound too harsh, so hopefully nothing broke. And it's technically closed now.
Aran sighed, but couldn't really dispute that. And besides, he was way too invested in spending time with his loved ones to care too much about open door and a little draft. Catching Sakusa alone shouldn't have been as difficult as it proved to be. The man usually kept to himself, they already got used to that in those few months they've dated. However, this time around, it almost felt like Sakusa was deliberately avoiding him. Why, Aran could only guess, but he had a sneaking suspicion it was connected to the issues Kita told him about before. Specifics were unfortunately still lost on them, no matter what they tried. Even after Christmas, which ended up better than they expected, Sakusa still didn't share what weighed on his mind. Not even with Atsumu, it seemed. Unless Tsumu is too dense to catch up on it. He chased that thought away, mentally apologizing to Atsumu for his doubts. After all, they also had no idea what was going on. Hopefully it's something we can help with. Speaking of though, he rushed downstairs upon catching a glimpse of the tall figure, finding Sakusa on the couch fidgeting with his fingers, but more importantly, alone. He carefully made his way to him, taking note of his slumped shoulders and scratched hands, before he knocked on the nearby cupboard to alert him to his presence. Hey, I thought you were asleep with how quiet you were.
Oh, sorry. I didn't want to disturb anyone.
You wouldn't. Jin and Tsumu are out buying some stuff for the garden anyway.
Oh.
He turned away, the fidgeting increasing before he caught himself. Can I join you for a bit?
Sure.
He shifted as if to make space despite there being more than enough, and clasped his hands between his knees as the house sank into an awkward silence. Aran's mind raced to think of something to break it, but the truth was, he didn't know Sakusa that well yet. The difference between Sakusa on and off court was almost jarring. Where he was focused and confident in play, throwing around deadpan remarks, he turned quiet and hesitant the moment he arrived home, and they still had no idea if that was normal for him or a result of their presence.
Did you need anything from me?
Not really. I just wanted to spend some time with you if you don't mind. We didn't really get a chance since Christmas.
He hoped that could get the chat going, but instead, Sakusa watched him for a moment before hanging his head.
You don't have to spend time with me just because I live here now. But I want to. I want to get to know you. We are dating, remember? Even if it's still somewhat loose relationship.
Right.
And I also wanted to ask for your opinion. It's kinda out of nowhere, I guess, but do you think I gained weight since you joined us?
That finally lured a different kind of expression from Sakusa, but the startled look in his eyes was barely what Aran hoped for. He gently bumped Sakusa's shoulder, trying to calm him down without necessarily touching his skin since he didn't ask beforehand.
It's just a silly question, don't think too hard about it.
Sakusa seemed to do the exact opposite. His forehead scrunched a little as his eyes quickly measured his torso, and then he shook his head just as quickly. No, there's muscle growth for sure, but no fat increase.
You think? That's good to hear. Maybe you'll finally have a real issue receiving my spikes soon.
The mention of volleyball did earn him a tiniest hint of smile, before the house sank back into the dreaded silence. Heavy, speaking volumes of just how little in common they had. And there was nothing coming to mind anymore, except...
Say, how are you doing these days? With all the sudden news and changes, I imagine it threw you off the loop pretty badly, right? I know things are still really new for you, so if there's anything we can do to help you feel more welcome and included,
it's alright. You don't have to bother yourself with it. Not an unexpected answer, but no less worrisome.
Of course we do. You're our partner as well. Sure, we don't know each other as well as with Atsumu, but we still want you around.
He bit the inside of his cheek, wondering if he should push more or rather leave Sakusa be for now. It would probably be better with how Sakusa looked at him right now, but at the same time, the chance to talk like this didn't have to come again, not anytime soon.
I see you're looking really down sometimes, and I don't like it, you know?
There was a little flinch in Sakusa's face before he looked away. That wasn't my intention.
Intention? What I mean is, I don't want you to feel bad here, but I also don't want to force you into something you don't feel comfortable with. So if there's anything we can do, tell us. And you can join us in everything as well. We won't push you away, I promise.
It was a rather desperate attempt to get some answers, one that screamed they were out of ideas before they even did anything. But except for maybe Atsumu's input, they really had no idea what Sakusa was like in his core. A shameful discovery indeed, considering it was them who turned his world upside down with their suggestion. Yet, a little light Aran could only describe as hope flickered in Sakusa's eyes after his words, but it was soon smashed by the usual soft darkness. Thank you. You seem to have fun on your own, though. It was so quiet, Aran barely understood the words. It stopped him in his tracks, a feeling that he was missing something really important settling on his mind. Especially when Sakusa got up then,
stiff like he was battling an urge to bolt away. Gyumi, I forgot something in the garden. Unable to think of anything to say to stop him, Aran watched as he disappeared out of the back door, the click of the handle cutting them off. A heavy sigh escaped his mouth as he leaned back, worried and wondering whether they had done something to contribute to the state of things.